Verse 27. When the time of her labor came, there were twins in her womb. Okay, so twins again. Jacob, Esau, the grandfathers, right? And now the grandsons, again twins. I think we know that if you had the chance, if you were a part of a twin or a twin, then the chance of you having twins is better than if you were not. Okay, so those with twins in their family line might have twins again. It does not imply that those who don't might not. They might, again, miracles, all kinds of things happen. Right? But in general, okay, so there were twins the previous generation, and now skip the generation, and then we have twins here again. So twins. In this case, we don't get like the Jacob and Esau story, like they were fighting inside the womb. But in this case, they're going to fight to get out first. Okay, let's continue reading. Verse 28. And when she was in labor, one put out a hand, and the midwife took and tied a scarlet thread on his hand, saying, this one came out first. Okay, so, kind of if a baby starts coming out, being born, then you kind of expect the baby to come out all the way. I mean, it's kind of not like he goes back into the womb and then he comes out again, kind of idea. It's sort of, I don't know if I need to maybe do some research on this, but I can't imagine this kind of a normal thing, especially now the two, and then the one will come out before the other one's like, how do they pass? It's like this inside, it's not like that big that they can pass inside, and then one comes out and the other one goes, and then one comes and he's like catching him and then pulling himself forward. It's like, this is not like a traffic jam kind of idea, right? The road is very narrow in there. But anyhow, however it worked, the one came out, there was this, the hand, put the scarlet thread. Now to think scarlet, blood, and this is how it's going to be, showing towards Jesus. I don't think in this case that's just what it's about. This is just a sign. I don't know, seemingly in some other way they already kind of knew they were twins, maybe in the way they were kicking and whatever, kind of inside the womb. So they sort of expected, and knowing that the one coming out, they need to make sure how else, because the two babies are going to come out, they might be mixed up after the birth. We're not going to know which one is the oldest, because the oldest, they are the most important one. So when the one has been born, when just a hand comes out, they already put this on, so the sign, so that this is like babies will get the name tags on them these days, so they're not mixed up. Although even then they still sometimes mix up. We know stories like that, quite a number of them. Anyhow. But so as to make sure, therefore, that they're not mixed up, that they know. So therefore, they put the scarlet. Maybe because the blood after whatever, and so therefore the scarlet, right? The mother's blood and all of those kinds of things that coming with, and etc. Right? But I don't think here to see Jesus and the scarlet that's anything to do with it. Okay, I mean this is just a very practical thing. They had to know twins, who's the eldest, who will get the inheritance. They need to know, and to not mix them up, they put the sign on. What is? They have a thread. They put the scarlet thread in. Plain simple. Okay. Verse 29. But as he drew back his hand, behold, his brother came out, and she said, "What a breach you have made for yourself." Therefore, his name was called Perez. Yeah, and that's Sergei Perez driving, who used to drive for Red Bull Racing and Formula 1. But his hand taken back, and here comes out the brother, right? And now the brother's like as if they fought him and like pulled him back in there, and like he came out kind of idea, and like he was like, it's kind of the same thing. Jacob and Esau. Jacob was the more important one. Then Cain and Abel. Cain the oldest, Abel younger, and as well the more important, etc. Right? Seth ultimately is the one who is going to take everything further, the youngest. Well, at least of those three. Okay, so the youngest we've seen a number of times how the youngest is the one that's actually going to take things further. Okay, so in this case as well, Perez is actually younger because he came out first, but he actually came out second. Okay, because Zerah was the one whose hand came out first and who got then the ribbon tied on it, and then but now Perez or something happened so that he is kind of, well, again, maybe most likely God at work, or nature at work, but I mean God using this, and because Perez as well is going to be the one to take this line further. Verse 13. Afterward, his brother came out with a scarlet thread in his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Okay, so now Perez out here. After Perez out, Zerah comes out, or the other boy comes out with the scarlet. So the one's actually the oldest, and they called him Zerah. Okay, so these are now the two sons. But it states that Judah didn't have intercourse with Tamar again. It does not say that she was given to Shelah then ultimately as a wife, but because that's not the important part, the ones taking this line further is going to be the sons born, or at least one of the sons born to Tamar and Judah. Okay, so therefore that is, so the rest of the story in that sense is not that important, and the focus will now after this shift back to Joseph, kind of fully, like I already explained earlier, that it's like Paul's conversion, Saul's conversion to Paul, or Paul, then Saul's conversion, and then Peter's story interjected, and then we return back to Saul, Paul, and just focus on him. So the same thing is going to basically happen to him. But Judah is the one from which David will come, and the one from which Jesus will come. So in that sense, this is a very important story. But the more immediate focus, this is a long-term focus, but the more immediate kind of focus is going to be now on surviving in the next few generations. And with a drought coming, very bad drought coming, how is that going to happen? And in that case, Joseph is going to be the most important person. And so the next chapter, we're going to get back to Joseph and his life in Egypt. Right, so we finished now with this chapter here, and I will just do the conclusion with a little bit of a different view. It's still here, but just a different background, and then we will move from here to redo the reading of chapter 39 in another place, maybe over there on the beach or something like that. Okay, so let's continue.